More updates here a little bit regarding the case of Julian Assange and his extradition case that the U.S. empire is again, attacking him, attacking WikiLeaks for exposing the crimes of the U.S. empire. And again, he he it's just so fucking ridiculous that he's being charged under the Espionage Act. He's never set foot in the United States. He's not a United States citizen. I believe he's actually a citizen of Australia, I believe. And again, he's just being punished for exposing crimes of the U.S. government in particular, and the UK has, being an arm of the U.S. is punishing him as a result. It's disgusting, and it's attack on journalism, and basically just saying, sending a real clear message that if you try to expose the crimes of the U.S. empire or other powerful state actors, we're going to retaliate against you in the most extreme ways possible. So I'll link this article in the description box down below. It's by Mark Curtis and Matt Kinnard at Declassified UK. This was on Consortium News. UK refuses to release information on Assange judge who has 96% approval rate in extradition cases. This is the person who's going to decide Julian Assange's fate, whether he gets potentially extradited to the United States, where he faces, over 100 years in prison, so basically a death sentence. Declassified UK has discovered, all for again just exposing the crimes of the U.S. empire, has discovered that Julian Assange's judge, Vanessa Baraitser, has ordered extradition in 96% of the cases she has presided over, which information is publicly available. Baraitser was appointed a district judge in October 2011 based at the Chief Magistrate's Office in London after being admitted as a solicitor in 1994. Next to no other information is available about her in the public domain. Has been criticized for a number of her judgments so far concerning Assange, who has been incarcerated in a maximum security prison, HMP Belmarsh in London, since April 2019. These decisions, including refusing Assange's request for emergency bail during COVID-19 pandemic, and again, apparently Julian Assange has these underlying health conditions, and it's just obviously, increasingly gotten worse since being locked up in this maximum security prison, in London. It's disgusting, making him sit behind a glass screen during the hearing rather than with his lawyers. Declassified recently revealed that Assange is one of just 2 of the 797 inmates in Belmarsh being held for violating bail conditions. Over 20% of the inmates are held for murder. Declassified has also seen evidence that the UK Home Office is blocking the release of information about Home Secretary Priti Patel's role in the Assange extradition. Probably obviously doing the bidding of the U.S. State Department, the U.S. government. Supposedly that's the only known photograph of this judge, Vanessa Baraitser, who will rule on Julian Assange's extradition in the UK in the public domain. Pretty creepy, right? There's no information, and then so they requested it. Was sent by Declassified to the Ministry of Justice on February 28th, requesting a list of all the cases in which Baraitser was ruled since she was appointed judge in 2011. The MOJ noted in response that it was obliged to send a reply within 20 days. 2 months later, on April 29th, an information officer at HM Courts and Tribunal Services responded that can confirm that it held some of the information that you requested, but it was rejected since the officer claim is not consistent with the Constitutional Reform Act. The judiciary is not a public body for the purposes of FOIA, and requests asking to disclose all cases a named judge ruled on are therefore outside of the scope. The officer added that the information requested would be in any event and exempt from disclosure because it contains personal data about the cases ruled on by an individual judge. Interesting. A British barrister who wished to remain anonymous for obvious reasons, who's not involved in the Assange case, told Classified resistance to disclosure here is curious. A court is a public authority for the purposes of Human Rights Act, and a judge is an officer of the court. It is therefore more than surprising that the first refusal argued that for the purposes of FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, there is no public body here subject to discourse. The barrister added, the alternative argument on data doesn't stack up. A court acts in public. There's no default anonymity of the case names unless children are involved or there are other certain limited circumstances, nor the judges who ruled on them. Justice has to be seen and done. Pretty curious why are they trying to hide this information on this judge in Julian Assange's trial? And then check this out. So there's the letter, identical request that Declassified UK said, asking for a case list for a different district judge, Justin Barron, who was appointed on the same day as barrister in October 2011. The request was answered swiftly within 17 days compared to 2 months with a judge in Assange's case. Let's see. It is unclear. Yeah. On this occasion, the request was not blocked. Instead, the information officer asked for further clarification about their information being sought, suggesting issues such as final hearing date, defendants' names, and the defendants were charged with. It clarified that it wanted to list to include the date, the defendant charge, and the judge's decision. The officer eventually declined the request, stating that would exceed the cost limit set out in the FOIA, but adding, well, we can't answer your request at the moment. We'll be able to answer a refined request within the cost limit. So there you go. Pretty interesting, right? Why the huge discrepancy? But then, yeah, they found 24 extradition cases that barrister Bereitzer ruled on from November 15th or November 2015 to May 2019, discovering using the Media Archive, Factiva, and Wetlaw. Of these 24 cases, Bereitzer ordered the extradition of 23 of the 24 defendants, 96% extradition record with publicly available evidence. Bereitzer has ordered the extradition of defendants to at least 11 countries in this period, including one person to the UK. 6 of the extraditions, or 26% rulings, were successfully appealed. Let's see. And then here you go. This judge, it's as Ben Norton pointed out, this whole process is basically, a kangaroo court. Recently, Bereitzer controversially refused to guarantee anonymity to Assange's partner, Stella Morris, which led her to publicly reveal her relationship with Assange and their 2 children. The appointment of Bereitzer to preside over Assange's case remains controversial and the decision untransparent. It's likely that Chief Magistrate Lady EmmaArbuthnot was involved in the decision to appoint Bereitzer to the case, which this chief judge is fucking real fucking sketchy. Let's see. So here we go. This is the really crucial part, I think. But Arbuthnot's role in the Assange case is mired in controversy and conflict of interest due to her family's connections to the British military and intelligence establishment, as Declassified has previously revealed. Arbuthnot has previously received financial benefits from partner organizations of the UK Foreign Office, which in 2018 called Assange a miserable little worm. Arbuthnot directly ruled in the Assange case in 2018 and 19 and has never formally recused herself from it. According to a statement given to Private Eye, she stepped aside because of perception of bias, but has not elucidated what that referred to. I mean, it's so fucked up. In a key judgment, April 2018, Arbuthnot rejected the finding of the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, a body composed of international legal experts, that Assange was being arbitrarily detained, characterized Assange's stay in the embassy as voluntary, and concluded Assange's health and mental state was of minor importance. This is the person kind of overseeing this whole thing who appointed this Breitzer judge. And again, we see that Arbuthnot has huge conflicts of interest with their ties to UK's, military intelligence and their foreign office. In a second ruling, a week later, Arbuthnot dismissed Assange's fears of UK extradition. I accept that Mr. Assange has expressed fears of being returned to the United States from a very early stage in the Swedish extradition proceedings, but I do not find that Mr. Assange's fears were reasonable. I mean, how can you not just completely, conclude at this point that Arbuthnot is basically a puppet for, the military apparatus of the UK, who is doing this at the behest of the United States government? It's disgusting. It's just so fucked up. They're Arbuthnot, real fucking trash. Husband Lord Arbuthnot, a former Conservative defense minister with links to British military and intelligence establishment. I mean, for God's sakes. For God's sakes. And let's see. Yeah, Lady Arbuthnot financially benefited from organizations exposed by WikiLeaks. Just fucking trash, dude. So disgusting. What's just the persecution of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Everybody needs to be speaking up about it. It's an attack on the free press, and it's meant to send a real huge chilling effect on anybody or any organization that attempts to expose the crimes of the U.S. empire and other state actors. Much love and solidarity to Julian Assange and anybody else the U.S. government and its puppets have persecuted for exposing their crimes, including people like Reality Winter, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, Thomas Drake, John Kiriakou, etc. Peace, much love.